Okay, this video is another review for your test, quite a bit shorter than the other one, but just a good chance for you to review some of the things we haven't done for a while. So the first one says to find the domain and simplify. And to do that, you have to factor first. So the top is going to factor to x plus 3, x minus 3. The bottom, I'm going to take out a 2, and I get x minus 3. Now you can't simplify first. You need to find the domain. The domain is anything you want. You can plug in anything you want, except you can't plug in anything that's going to make the bottom 0. So we're only concerned about the denominator. We don't care what's happening in the top, just the denominator. So in the bottom, a 2 can't be a 0, but x minus 3 can equal 0 if x is positive 3. And so we say the domain is all real numbers except x cannot equal 3. Now that we've done that, now we can write the simplified version. So the x minus 3's cancel out. So my simplified version is just going to be x plus 3 over 2. On number 2, because there's no pluses or minuses, we don't need to factor it. And on number 2, if I give you something like this on the test, I am not going to ask for the domain if there is more than one variable. And in this case, because there's more than one variable, we are not going to worry about the domain. We're just going to simplify. So because you can't factor, I'm going to treat this as two separate problems. So the first thing we're going to do is reduce the numbers. So what can go into both those? Well, 2 can. So this will be 12 over 7. So I'll write my fraction as 12 over 7. Now let's deal with the variables. There's 5 x's on top and 3 on the bottom. So we cancel, we get 2 x's, and they're left over on the top because we start with more on the top. Same thing with the y's, 4 on the top, 8 on the bottom. We cancel, and we get 4 on the bottom, and we're done. Now in the next group, we're multiplying and dividing. You cannot multiply and divide until you factor. And we know we need to factor if there's pluses or minuses. So on the first one, when I go to factor that, that's going to give me x plus 4, x minus 3. This one's going to factor to x minus 3, x plus 2. Over here, I can factor it by taking out a 2, and I'm left with x plus 2. On the bottom, I can take out a 6, and I'm left with x minus 3. So when we cancel, I can only cancel 1 for 1. So I have an x minus 3 that can go, and I have an x plus 2 that can go. There are no other matching groups. That said, the 2 and the 6 don't make a group because there's no pluses or minuses with them, and you can cancel things outside of the group if they happen to reduce, and 2 and 6 do. I can do 1 and 3. So when I'm done, on the top, I have 1 times x plus 4, and the 1 is not necessary to write. On the bottom, I have 3 times x minus 3. So I'll write that, but I'm not going to multiply it back out. I leave it factored. Okay, on the next one, it's division. I have pluses and minus, so I'm definitely going to, factor again. But because it's division, I can't divide by a fraction. So instead, I multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip the ones on the right. So as I factor, this is going to give me x plus 6, x minus 6. This one's going to give me x minus 6, x plus 3 times. Now we're going to flip. What multiplies to 12 and adds to 7? Well, that would be 3 and 4. And then the negative 24 one goes on the bottom, and that's going to be positive 6 and negative 4. Okay, again, when we're canceling, we can only do 1 for 1. So the x minus 6's can go. The x plus 3's can go. The x plus 6's can go. And that leaves me with x plus 4 over x minus 4. Those 4's cannot simplify because they're attached with pluses or minuses. And when you have that, you can't break them up. All right, number 5, we want to be able to add and subtract. And to do that, we have to have 2 fractions that have the same denominator. And right now they don't. So I'm going to make their denominator the least common multiple, which in this case is x plus 6, x minus 1. So now I'm going to write 2 fractions that have the same denominator, x plus 6 times x minus 1. Now I'm going to look at the first fraction. The first fraction has the x plus 6 of the least common multiple. But what it's missing is the x minus 1. So I'm going to multiply this one times the x minus 1. So I'll distribute, and that'll give me 2x squared minus 2x. The second one has the x minus 1, but it's missing the x plus 6. So I'm going to multiply it times x plus 6. And now I'll distribute, and I get 3x plus 18. Now I have two fractions, and their denominators match. So now I'm going to combine them and merge them into one fraction with the same denominator. So my denominator is still that least common multiple of x plus 6x minus 1, but now I'm going to merge what's in the top, which would give me 2x squared plus x plus 18 when I combine like terms. Now, I could check to see if the numerator factors. On that one, its leading coefficient is not 1, so I'd have to split the middle term. 2 times 18 is 36, but there's nothing that's going to multiply to positive 36 and add to 1, so that one will not factor, therefore it won't simplify any further. Okay, couple things going on number 5. First of all, because it's a minus, I'm going to immediately change it to plus negative. Not even going to do anything else before I do that. Second, to find the least common multiple, I've got to have everything factored. And this isn't factored. This needs to factor to x plus 2, x minus 2. So now I have my least common multiple. So I'm going to write two fractions that have that as a least common multiple. I started grade 5. So this first fraction has the x plus 2 and it has the x minus 2. It has everything, so we don't need to change it. I'm just going to make it an x. The second fraction has the x plus, excuse me, no, it doesn't. It has the x minus 2, but what it's missing is the yellow one, the x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply it times x plus 2. When I do that, though, remember I've changed it already to a -5. So it's a -5 that I'm distributing. So I get -5x minus 10. Now my fractions have the same denominator. So now I'm going to merge them into one fraction that has that same denominator. And that same denominator is x plus 2, x minus 2. But before I can do that, I need to combine the numerators. X and -5x is -4x minus 10. When I'm doing this, I could factor the numerator. I could take out a -2, leaving me with 2x plus 5, but that won't cancel anything with anything on the bottom. So we are just done. And that's my final answer.